In this segment, we're going to discuss the fitting of the CorFit Advantage. It's a mechanical advantage support for the lumbosacral region that provides greater compressive support than we could ever get out of any kind of elastic. Usually for the more involved, and it could be disc involvement, it could be set alignment, it could be nerve impingement, it may be chronic, it could be fairly severe acute, but anytime that lower area of the spine needs support, the CorFit Advantage can be a big benefit. We'll go through the measuring for this device, how to apply it, the patient education, how to check the fitting, and so we'll just start with the measurement for this and any other. Oh, by the way, before I forget, inside the package, the core packaging, and you can see the wall behind me, on the inside of the packaging are patient instructions, so that you can send this home with them, and they have the instructions that they can refer to. So you still want to give them good instruction, but before we get there, we want a very full hip measurement. To do that, you'll want to see the patient from the side, not from the front or from the back, from the side, so that you can see the fullest part of the buttocks. So we'll get a measurement there, and as opposed to just gently snug, we really crank on this very, very snug, and so that's how the product is sized. That's how you'll make your product size selection for the medical documentation. It would be a great idea also to have a waist measurement, and that would be a circumferential measurement taken at the waist. If there's any doubt as to where that is, just have the patient do a lateral bend. A crease will always form here. It will be above the iliac crest or the hip bone and below the rib cage, so that's her natural waistline. Get a measurement there. And then a posterior length measurement would be from the inferior angle of the scapula, there it is, and drop down 2 inches from there, and then from that point to the distal margin of the sacrum, which will equate to the top of the crease of the buttocks. So that would be a posterior length measurement. You would also want an anterior length measurement, and if I can get you to turn around, that would be at the top of the costal flare, or the leading edge of the rib cage, from the xiphoid process there down to the symphysis pubis, and if you could point to that, there we go. And so we have an anterior length measurement. That all becomes part of the documentation. You, for documentation, also would want patient height and weight, because significant weight gain or loss could be the medical reason why you'd be able to bill a patient for a second device before the first one is worn out. So we got our measurements, we come to the product, and again, this is the CorFit Advantage. As with all core products, the label is on the top, and so the patient is taught which side is up, which side is down. It also has this cord mechanism in here that acts exactly like a pulley, where a little bit of force can lift a great amount of weight. So this is that same concept, where a little bit of compressive force, a little bit of force here provides a great deal of compressive support for the trunk and for the spine. So we just open this up, make sure the tabs are close to the keeper back here, as opposed to starting out with the tabs way to the front here. We would not get as much stretch out of the device. So start this with this way back here, like so. And the other side is there. This side is top. So if I could turn you around, we're going to start high and work our way down, making sure it's square and centered on her. And the bottom of the device should come, if you could hold that, bottom of the device should come to the top of the crease of her buttocks, which is her distal sacrum. I'm now going to turn you around, and the patient is taught how to do the initial closure, and the important part here is not necessarily how much compressive support, but where the device sits. Way too often these devices are fit way too high, and if they're fit too high, it can't support the spine. The device is designed to capture the lower abdominal wall and lift up on that. When it does that, that's when we get compression, that's when we get relief of the structures in the spine. So do you think that's at the right height, or could it be a little bit lower? Does that feel a bit better, more in line with the symphysis pubis, that bone below your belly? Okay. So now it's on, and we've taught her the right location where it should be situated. And now she can pull on the tabs here. And I'm going to do this for you the first time, and then you can do it. When you do this for a patient, make sure you stabilize their pelvis, like so, and then add the compressive support by pulling on this, and do that on the other side. Stabilize her pelvis, and pull on that, gently snug. And so they can be stacked one on top of the other ones. This is for the upper part of the lumbar region. This is for the lower part of the lumbar region. And it may make a difference to the patient if one is tighter, a little bit looser. So you can teach the patient how to snug this up and how she can almost contour the tilt of her pelvis by having one tighter and one looser, and she can fine-tune that posture where she feels the greatest amount of support. So now the device is on, we'll teach the patient how to check their fitting, and if you wouldn't mind sitting here for me. And the key marker is the bottom of the device should come right to the crease in the groin area. If it's fit too low, that'll impinge there and might cause some discomfort. If it's too high, if there's any space at all from the bottom of the device to her thigh, if it's sitting up here, for example, then it's fit too high and it's not supporting her lower abdominal wall, and therefore it can't support her spine. So have the patient learn that the device, when they sit down, should always come to that point. So you okay with that? I want to stand up. And now we'll ask the patient to take the device off, and we'll teach the patient how to do that because they have to be very, very comfortable leaving your facility, knowing how to take it off and how to put it back on in an appropriate manner. So all you do is loosen these. You see the tabs there? Yep, just go peel those backwards. And what I'd like you to do is to position them, so we can see here, position those as close to this retainer loop here as possible. There you go. And not just put them up here. So that side also, get it back there, excellent. And then teach the patient how to start at the top here and just sort of peel this off the front. We'll make that easier for them, excellent. And then go ahead and take it all the way off. And teach the patient, if they set this down, that they should touch the Velcro together. Stretch it out. There you go. And then touch the Velcro together so this Velcro doesn't get caught on other clothing or whatever, get tangled. So now she could theoretically set it down and go to bed at night, and now it's the next morning and you have to put it on. And I want you comfortable to do that, so why don't you go ahead and put that on for me? So she'll open up the front. Make sure the top is the top and the bottom is the bottom. And she can feel where it's at the right height to the posterior, to the back, and where it's centered. And go ahead and do the closure. Again, she's going to pull out. Instead of drawing it across her, she'll pull out to get the elastic support and touch it down. That appears to be exactly at the right height. The way these are designed, there's an overlap here in the front. In this case, a good 5 inches or so. It's that double wall support that provides the support for the lower abdominal wall and is built into all the core Advantage products. So now she can grab the pull tabs here on both sides, and she can do those simultaneous. Again, teach her how to pull it out and not to the front, pull it out, and touch those down for closure. And now that it's on, she can move around a little bit, maybe flex and bend a little bit. There we go. And now, just to see if we got the right fit, why don't you loosen the bottom one and tighten the top one a little bit. So just take a little bit of tension off of that and tighten that one down. And that, for different patients, that might feel better or might feel like less support. And then have them reverse that process. Just take a little bit off the top one. There you go. A little bit of tension off and tighten that one. And so they can almost fine-tune their lumbar posture to find that point where they say, oh, man, this feels great. I love that support. And so between the double thickness here and being able to adjust the tension, or it may be best where both of them are snug, that feels the best. Have them play with those variations, and they'll feel that area where they feel the maximum amount of support. Again, they can sit down, make sure that this isn't digging into their groin area, and you're comfortable putting this on, taking it off and putting it back on. Cool, excellent. So, and that's a lot of support for the spine, because we're lifting up the abdominal wall with that pulley mechanism that provides a mechanical advantage. So that's the fitting of a mechanical advantage.